Thelonious Monk, Charles Mingus, Roy Haynes, and Charlie Parker performed at the Open Door in Greenwich Village in 1953, a year before Parker's death at age 34. Theodore Roosevelt in an automobile between 1914 and 1918. He was the first U.S. president to ride in a car, though he did so after leaving office. A man sells brooms and baskets on a Japanese street, 1890 to 1896. These street vendors, called yatai, often walked miles daily to sell handmade goods. In 1938, Saudi Arabia's first king, Ibn Saud, stood with his 2-year-old son and the future King Salman. Ibn Saud unified the kingdom in 1932 after decades of warfare. April 1977, in suburban Montreal, teenagers socialized face-to-face without phones or computers, relying on shared moments and growing independence. Despite limited technology, youth culture thrived through music, fashion, and community. Teachers and students at the scientific courses of Ukrainian studies in Lviv, 1904, gathered during a time when Ukrainian language education was banned under Austrian rule. A couple rides a motorcycle with a sidecar while reading Sport Illustrierte. In 1933, the magazine had over 300,000 readers by the late 1930s, despite Nazi censorship efforts. In June 1942, soldiers tested and refurbished gas masks at Maryland's Edgewood Arsenal, where the U.S. military later conducted controversial chemical warfare experiments on troops. Logs are loaded at the Hall and Bishop Company camp in Gettysburg, Washington, around 1900. The company built a narrow-gauge railroad to transport timber, a rare innovation in remote Pacific Northwest logging at the time. Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio visited Hiroshima's Atomic Bomb Memorial Hall during their 1954 honeymoon. Monroe later donated her film earnings to Japanese orphans. At the Natural Food Conservatory in Niagara Falls, New York, circa 1906, whole wheat is cleaned and prepared for shredded wheat production. The process was invented by a dentist who believed raw foods improve dental health. Hiram Bingham, guided by Melchor Arteaga, reached Machu Picchu on July 24, 1911, revealing the lost Inca citadel to the world. Bingham was led there by local farmers who already knew of its existence. In 1926, Washington, D.C., the I.C. Barber Motor Company at 14th and Irving Streets Northwest sold Hudson Essex cars, moving vans, and floral arrangements, and offered hair treatments. The building once housed a black-owned business serving the segregated community during Jim Crow. Alabama Highway Patrol officers patrolled in 1936 using motorcycles and early radio-equipped cars, a novelty at the time. Looking south on LaSalle Street from near Madison in Chicago's Loop, 1929, with bustling traffic and early skyscrapers, the Chicago Board of Trade building, completed the following year, became the world's tallest building outside New York City. Georgetown University faced Kentucky's Praying Colonels at Griffith Stadium in Washington, D.C. on November 14, 1925. The game drew over 20,000 fans, a massive crowd for college football at the time. Along the levee in Cincinnati, Ohio River, circa 1904, bustling with river trade activity. The city's flood wall system, built after the 1937 flood, now protects it from the river's frequent overflows. Barney Oldfield, son of a Civil War veteran, became an early 20th century racing legend known for his record-breaking speed, he was the first to drive a car over 60 miles per hour. The U.S. House chamber in 1908 appears eerily empty due to long exposure photography, which blurred moving figures into ghostly traces. Early 20th century cameras required several seconds of stillness to capture clear images. Late 19th century divers wore suits weighing over 200 pounds, restricting movement underwater. These heavy copper and brass helmets were so cumbersome that divers often needed assistance to help them walk. Nancy Sinatra performs with her father Frank and family friend Yul Brynner at the Sands Hotel in Las Vegas, 1965, where Brynner once bet $10,000 on a single roulette spin. Einstein and his wife Elsa embarked on a 6-month boat journey to the Far East in October 1922. He was traveling to Japan when he learned he had won the Nobel Prize in Physics. New York City, circa 1903, shows the Detroit Photographic Company's store at 229 Fifth Avenue. The company pioneered mass-colorized postcards using early photoprinting techniques. Director Richard Brooks discusses a scene with Paul Newman on the 1958 set of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. The film's dialogue was heavily censored to comply with the Hays Code. Waiting by a mailbox in California, circa 1915, when rural mail delivery was still a relatively new convenience for isolated communities. Palisades on the Columbia River in Oregon, photographed by Frank J. Haynes in the mid-1880s. The area was a key route for indigenous peoples long before European exploration. First Lady Dolly Madison poses with her niece Anne Payne in 1848. Dolly, known for saving George Washington's portrait during the War of 1812, was the First Lady to learn sign language to communicate with deaf guests. At a brandy factory in Tbilisi, Soviet Georgia, workers oversee casks in 1959. Joseph Stalin, a key figure in Soviet history, once worked as a brandy chemist in this same factory. A woman and her horse leap over a car at a California rodeo in 1934. Women rodeo performers were among the first American female athletes to compete professionally for pay. Strolling Ocean City, Maryland's boardwalk in 1967, when the town's famous saltwater taffy industry had already been thriving for over 60 years. A sign at the National Zoological Park in Washington, D.C., May 1943, once directed visitors to the Eskimo Village exhibit, which featured Inuit people displayed as part of a human zoo until public outcry ended the practice in the 1950s. The Palace Theater in Chicago, opened by H. Schoenstatt and Sons around 1912 for silent films like Kid Canfield, featured a dazzling mix of signs and posters. It was one of the first theaters in the U.S. to use electric marquee lighting. A 1912 birthday party captures early 20th century childhood with simple decorations and formal attire, and at that time most American homes still lacked electricity. A Ford dealership on Rhode Island Avenue Northeast in Washington, D.C., circa 1924, shows early car culture thriving. Fred Haas sold Model Ts when fewer than 1 inches. 10 Americans owned a car. Old Abe, the American War Eagle mascot of the 8th Wisconsin Regiment, fought in 39 Civil War battles, including Vicksburg, and became a symbol of Union courage. He was captured from a Native American nest and carried into battle on a special perch.